All right, so man, Coach, thank you so much for having me. My name is Broadaway. I am at South Panola High School. It's in Batesville, Mississippi, about 45 minutes south of Memphis. Just an incredible opportunity that I got fresh out of college to come over here, and I actually took over as the tight ends and H-backs coach. And then the next year, I was asked to do linebackers. So started doing linebackers. About year two, they asked me to start taking over the strength and conditioning program and also the boys and girls powerlifting program here at the school. And so I did both of those as well. And, it's really been a blessing. So just a little bit about me before I get started. Before I went back to college and finished up my degree, I actually worked in law enforcement. So I was a police officer and I worked in the jail until I turned 21. And then once I turned 21, became a police officer. Out on the streets, ended up going back to college specifically to try to further that law enforcement degree or that law enforcement career. And ended up my first year, I declared sociology. I was going to go be a sociology major, and just really sat down and did some soul searching and said, man, is this really what you want to do for the rest of your life? And so I ended up saying, probably not. Being a coach, having coaches around me, that's the people that really had the most influence in my life. And so, upon doing a little soul searching, I said, man, you're really meant to be a coach. And so kind of shifted gears. By then I was in the National Guard. I'm actually next month able to drop my packet for captain. I've been everything from a day one private through basic training all the way up to now almost taking a company command. But I'm a military intelligence officer, so I feel like that has helped me out a lot with not only programming in the weight room, but also just the way that I kind of look at the game in a little bit different way, kind of more systematic in how that we do our breakdowns and everything. So I went to the University of Central Arkansas. I was there under Steve Campbell. Steve Campbell was our head football coach. He's now the head coach at South Alabama. And he is by far one of the, just most influential people that I've ever been around. The way that he captures his audience and just a high energy. He always had what he would call a fight, scratch, claw mentality. Just always trying to get better and go through and get as much as he could out of his players. And so, I learned a lot from him. And so, that's pretty much where I am at. It's very understated whenever we actually look at our athletes, how much, we could truly be getting out of them. So, one of the biggest things when you look at is training the entire athlete, not just the physical side, but also looking at the other parts of their being and their health that are going to help them to not only succeed on the field, but also off the field, in the classroom and everything else. All right. So just a general overview real quick. It's really important to focus on your health as a whole. So one of the biggest things that I teach my guys right here is thinking about this health triangle basically that we have. All right, we have our physical, of course, that being in athletics, we have to focus on. I mean, everything that we do is based on physicality. But there's also other dynamics to this that you can't avoid. Right? We have a mental aspect to the game where, whenever we're in the fourth quarter, everybody's got their fours up, there's a couple minutes left in the game, and I'm asking you to run this blitz that we just installed at halftime. How are you going to be able to react to that? Are you going to be able to remember that you're supposed to hit B gap and not C gap? All these different things that play into it. You've got to be able to react to that. And I think that there's ways that you can bring these different aspects and sharpen those tools for your athletes in the weight room while we're in there. So, the mental aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it, and even your social health with your kids and how they respond to other people, how they communicate, things like that. And it's very, very important. All right, so I'm going to start off with our physical and looking at nutrition. All right, I tell my kids all the time, don't skip breakfast. Of course, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. it literally translates into break fast. So you're coming out of this fasted state, and you're breaking it so that you can return to a catabolic state. All right. If you stay in that fasted state, your body's just going to keep trying to break muscle down and use it for energy, as opposed to being in that catabolic, or that you're going to stay in the catabolic state if you don't break that fast. All right. So you have to get into that muscle building state. As far as, am I eating enough? All right. Looking at that, I can tell you right now, my athletes don't eat enough. All right. We try to tell them all the time. I had a kid who he really wanted to put on muscle. He was just real dead set on, man, I'm going to, put on 15 pounds of sausages. All right, cool. That's fine. I'll tell you what, on one day, 24 hours, I want you to send me a picture of every single thing that you eat. And he was like, all right, cool. I will. So breakfast rolls around. He sends me a picture of like this little sausage biscuit, and it's, not much bigger than $50. Lunch, he sends me a bag of hot chips, Coke, and whatever they were serving in the cafeteria that day. For dinner, it was like 2 or 3 slices of pizza and a Gatorade, and that was it. And I said, look, not only do you not have near enough calories that you're putting into your body to actually get into that muscle building state, but you're not putting the right stuff in your body. All right. So eat for fuel and eat for recovery. Eat for what you're going to use, and then also eat to recover. And then, like I was just telling him, all right, the F-150 versus the Lamborghini thought process is what I tell my players all the time. All right. I tell my guy, look, you're not putting the right things in your body. All right. If I have an old rundown F-150 and I put it on the line next to a Lamborghini, all right, which one's going to win that race? Well, obviously the Lamborghini is going to win. All right, cool. Well, what if I fill that Lamborghini up with water and then I put gasoline in the F-150? Well, now who's going to win? Well, now it's going to be the old beat up F-150. All right. It doesn't matter, what you're built to do. It doesn't matter what your body looks like. If you're not putting the right things in your body, then it's not going to perform the way that you want it to perform. Okay. So make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing as far as your meal and your nutrition, your meal planning. All right. So this is one slide that I use with my athletes just to show them. You look at 200 calories. All right, these are equal 200 calories in their nutrient output. But if you look at the nutrient density of both of these plates, all right, you're going to have so many more vitamins and minerals and nutrients coming from this 200 calories of apples than what you will this 200 calories of chips. Those chips, you're going to eat those chips and you're going to be hungry again in the next 30, 45 minutes. All right. It would be hard to eat that much apple in one sitting, because I know personally for me, I would be stuffed. I would be miserable, full, looking for somewhere to go lay down. All right. So, that's one of the biggest things, is just knowing that those nutrients that you get out of that food, all right, it's a big difference whenever you are trying to be an athlete and you're trying to actually build your body into something that you can use to compete against other athletes. All right, looking at how much we're eating. So I got this from the University of Nevada at Las Vegas, UNLV. And obviously they know a lot more about this stuff than I do. So whenever we're looking at this, okay, these are our estimated caloric values, what we need to put in our bodies as athletes. Okay, so most of our football players and most of our athletes are going to fall into this moderate to high range. Okay, so if you look right here on the left column, whenever we see it's training 1 to 1.5 hours per day, 5 to 6 times per week. Okay, or training in that 1.5 to 2 hours a day, 5 to 6 times per week. Okay, so this might be like our off season. This might be our in season type training intensity output. Okay, so looking at the moderate, calories per pound of body weight. So looking at 19 to 21 calories per pound of body weight. Looking at this, and high, we've got 22 to 24. All right, so here's some examples. So our 160 pound safety, all right, or wide receiver, we might be around anywhere from 3,000 to 3,400 calories per day. All right. If we're in a high where we're constantly burning, working out a whole lot more, anywhere from 35 to 3,800. Okay. But then whenever you get into some of these bigger athletes, your offensive, defensive linemen, some linebackers, things like that, all right, those needs go all the way up. All right. You might be anywhere from right here, 6,200 to 6,700. All right, for a offensive or defensive lineman, for them to maintain their body weight and not actually lose as the season goes on. All right, so it's important that your kids understand that, this is, it's not only what they're putting in their body, but it is also how much, and it would be easy to get 6,000 calories worth of Big Macs and Dr. Peppers. That's too easy. But if you're doing this with actual clean, good food that is going to actually help build muscle within your body, then that's a little bit harder to do. All right. So that's a big part of what we teach our kids. All right. Big one is sleep. I know I'm not the only coach that has to deal with this, but I'll get on Twitter or something and it'll be 10, 11 o'clock. I'm gearing down for the night and I'll see my players sitting there saying, oh yeah, hey, let's get on the game real quick, or this or that, or, whatever. Or I'll wake up the next morning and see that this kid was tweeting stuff out at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. We just can't do that. I ask my kids, when does your body heal itself? Well, I don't know. It does whenever you're sleeping, right? So you have to give your body plenty of sleep so that you can actually heal yourself. If all you're doing is tearing that muscle down, and not giving it time to actually heal and come back, then you're not doing yourself any good. All right? You're just going to continue to be in a catabolic state where you're tearing that muscle down, all right, and you never get to that anabolic state where you're actually building it up. All right, so you have to consider that. You actually need to get around 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night. All right, it's actually proven that getting 10 or more hours of sleep actually increases your reaction time and your reflexes. All right, so a lot of people, for whatever reason, think that those are skills that can't be trained, that, oh, you're just naturally quick as a cat, on your reflexes. No, all right, that's stuff that you can absolutely get better at. You can train and you can improve those skills. Lack of sleep has actually been found to lead to those similar effects of alcohol. All right, so whenever you're looking at coordination, whenever you're looking at reaction time, reaction speed, whenever you're looking at, all the different, just being lethargic and being, kind of out of it. All right, having that lack of sleep has those same effects as what the depressant alcohol has. All right, and then of course, an increase in energy is going to lead to an increase in mental toughness and intensity. All right, so the more that you have in reserve, the more energy you have, the better you're going to play, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to be able to get out there and compete against other people. Okay, hydration. Speaking of, all right, our body is 60% water. Okay, so it's very, very important to know that, we're majority water. The muscles are 73% water. So whenever you start looking at muscle cramps and things like that, all right, one of the biggest reasons that happens is because we're not getting enough water. All right. You also have to look at your food intake. So if all you do is drink water on an empty stomach, all right, it's gonna hydrate you, but it's a lot better if it has some food in your stomach that water can bind to, and then slowly break down and process with that food and give you a steady state so that it doesn't just run straight through you. Okay, so you need to have some food for it to bind to as well. Food intake is huge. All right? Also, sodium levels, having salt in your body for it to bind to and get in those muscles is going to be very huge. Dehydration hinders physical and mental performance more than anything else. All right, I'm a firm believer in that. All right, I take it personal whenever my players cramp up on a Friday night. All right, that means that that either we didn't do a good enough job preaching to them about the importance of hydration, or we didn't provide them with enough tools in order for them to be successful and stay hydrated. All right, so we will give our kids Gatorade during and after practice. We'll give our kids Pedialyte the night before to go ahead and take home and drink that the night before. There's a lot of things that we do for our kids that try to keep them hydrated. All right, and then your brain is 80% water. That's crazy to think that it's only 20% anything else. All right, so that's going to be one of the very first things that shrinks is your brain, right? Whenever you're dehydrated. So you need to make sure that if you are really trying to get the most out of your athletes, that they are fully hydrated, not only for their physical performance, but obviously also for their mental performance as well. All right, monitor your water intake. So over here, this is a little chart that I show our kids. Right here, this is a urine chart, right? So if your urine is, just slightly off color, just a little bit yellow, then you're good. All right. Right here, that's still good. Once you get to right here, I suggest my athletes start drinking some water. Okay, this is decent, but we're getting there. All right, now once we start getting darker, obviously, man, you got to drink water. All right, I tell my guys that, hey, you don't need to wait until you're thirsty to drink water. All right, you need to be drinking water around the clock. All right, but of course we do caution them against drinking too much water, hyponatremia, actually flushing their system and losing that sodium balance, things like that. All right, but it's very important. All right, we talk about drugs with our kids quite a bit as far as, not using these different things. Basically, what I tell them is, hey, anything that you're putting into your lungs that isn't oxygen, it's doing damage. All right, we found that out through years of research, through smog and everything else, and the carcinogens, the cancer-causing agents that are in these different things, just very dangerous. So one of the biggest things we hit on. All right, mentally. Talk about challenging yourself daily. The people who are mentally stable and mentally healthy, they love to be challenged. They understand that, I want to try to challenge myself. I want to try to get better as much as I can. All right, your body can do more than what you think. All right, there's a mental block that some of us try to put up that, hey, this hurts. Hey, I'm sore. Hey, I'm tired. I can't do this. If you can learn how to overcome that mental block, that mental barrier, then that's one of the biggest things that an athlete can do. Okay, so just understanding that our bodies we can push them farther than what we think we can. All right, taking can't out of your vocabulary, setting the bar high. All right, one of the biggest things that one of our running backs coach, he says all the time, man, shoot for the moon and land in the stars. If you're not shooting to hit as high up as you can, as far as you can, then you're aiming too low. You're not doing enough to what you can actually do. You're not going to meet your full potential. But if you shoot as high as you can, even if you land in the stars, you're a whole lot better off than where you were. All right, so that's a big thing. I tell my guys, especially my linebackers, be a one rep guy. All right, don't make me waste reps. Don't make me go over and over and over trying to catch you up and get you where everyone else is. All right, if you can be a one rep guy and let me then progress with you and go to the next step of this and the next step of this and the next step, then you're going to end up getting better. All right, just try to pick things up as quickly as you can. All right, listen the first time, internalize it, get it, and then go execute it. Be a one rep guy. All right, and then engage in self-study. All right, being able to go home and watch huddle on your own, not having somebody have to hold your hand and force you to do these different things. All right, studying and learning on your own is a big part of it. All right, emotional. Of course, just like everybody else, we always say control what you can control. All right, it's a big aspect of playing football, being able to get back on the horse after you've been bucked off and stand back up and go. All right, but being able to control what you can control. Refs are going to throw flags. A coach might call the wrong play. I might signal in the wrong play. There's no telling anything that can happen. All right, but the only person that can control you is you. So being able to control your actions, being able to take those punches, roll with them, and keep going. All right, embrace the suck. That's one of the things. It's an old military term that that we've used for years and years and years. But embrace the suck is basically talking about, hey, look, summertime is hot. It might be 130 degrees out there on that turf in Mississippi. I mean, it's crazy hot. You're going to be tired. You're going to be sore. You're not. It's going to be more tempting to sit at the house and suck on that sweet air and be in the air conditioning and hang out. But embracing the suck is part of understanding that, hey, I have to go to practice. I have to go get better. I have to go be with my team, because whenever I'm trying that ring on, or I'm getting fitted for that ring in December, it's all going to be worth it. It may suck now, but at the end of it, it's going to be worth it whenever I get all this back out of it. And then a lack of discipline off the field translates to a lack of discipline on the field. We have a zero tolerance for any discipline problems up at the school. If I can't trust you to sit there and act right in Miss Johnson's English class, then I can't trust you to go out here and perform this stunt or this blitz or this crazy trick play that we just drew up on the sideline that we're about to go win a game with. All right. It is too easy to sit there and act right, and it's too easy to sit there and do your homework and not talk in class and not pull your cell phone out and not get into fights and do those things. It's too easy to do those things. All right. Playing football is hard. Running these crazy plays is hard. Getting under a squat bar and squatting 450 pounds is hard. All right. That's the stuff that is tough. Okay. Controlling your actions and doing what you're supposed to do is not tough. That's not hard. That's stuff that should be expected. All right, as far as our social health, looking at brotherhood, okay, being a good teammate, being the teammate that you would want to have, all right, being the teammate that you would want, to show up for you. Would you want the teammate that always, tells you you're a failure, tells you can't do this, oh, you're this or that, blah, blah, blah. All right, no, you want the teammate that would lift you up. So be that teammate to somebody else, all right? That's huge, especially like for our seniors and how they interact with the sophomores. We're not going to sit there and let our seniors bully our sophomores. I think we've all kind of came through that mentality. It's kind of an old school mentality. But I remember getting chased around the locker room with the paddle, stuff like that. I mean, there is a place for some of that, but this day and age, you can't do that kind of stuff anymore. We've grown so much from that. We can't continue that kind of a locker room mentality. All right. But just having that brotherhood, having that, where you're looking at your seniors as your older brothers and they're going to go to bat for you, picking each other up. Being, 45 minutes south of Memphis, we have some gang issues. It's not bad. It's not near as bad as what it could be. All right. But, knowing that that's out there and that's an option for our kids to get involved in. One of the biggest things I like to tell them is, we're the biggest gang on campus. There's 80 kids that dress out in our senior high locker room. We probably have 40 ninth graders and we probably have 40 eighth grade. I mean, we have a ton of kids on campus. All right? There's nobody else that is repping a bigger gang, repping a bigger set than what we are. All right? We've got the absolute biggest gang on campus. And if y'all don't have each other's backs, then we don't have anything. Okay, so we have to make sure that we're looking out for each other. We're keeping each other out of trouble, and we're doing the right thing. All right. And then as far as the social aspect, we don't allow headphones in our facility. All right. And we'll have some loud music whenever we get to like our competition part of our workout. But while we're actually lifting, we don't do a lot of loud, blaring, crazy music. All right. And the reason is because we want to encourage our kids to communicate. We want them to talk back and forth. We want them to, hey, I need help with this, or, hey, come spot me. Hey, how was my form on that? The more that we can get them communicating in the locker room and in the weight room, the more we're going to see that communication bleed over on a Friday night. So that's a big part of it is, we want to understand the hype aspect of it, and we get there whenever we get to our competition phase. But, I also want our kids to be communicators so that we can go win some ball games on Friday night. All right, I'm sticking more to culture. I'm not going to get too much into programming, but I do like to go over this with our kids, just the difference between aerobic and anaerobic, how you work those things, what, each one of these different systems actually does for you, and how it allows you to play a complete game. Again, kind of into programming, not going to hit too much on this, but one of the biggest things we like to do is we like to keep our workouts fresh. Okay, so we'll do our primary. We do 2 primary lifts every single day, whether it is bench and incline, whether it's squat and power clean, whether it's deadlift and squat, whatever. All right, we try to hit 2 of these every single day. We do a upper-lower split so that we're not going to be hitting these too often. But then we have our auxiliary. We'll do multiples of these per day. So we'll have, anything from curls to shrugs to jammers to anything that we do, some calf raises, things like that for our auxiliary stuff. And then we'll work explosion several times per day, multiple of these per day. And this is huge as far as the progression of the athlete. All right, because explosion, every single position uses some type of an explosion movement, whether it's O-line, D-line firing off, whether it's your Mike linebacker scraping and filling down to fill that A or B gap, whether it's a receiver coming out of his break, whatever it is, or a DB coming out of his break, receiver coming out of the route, but whatever it is, all right, we have to work explosion. So we work a lot of tsunami stuff. We have tsunami bars. We jump a lot of boxes. We'll do a lot of sprints, a lot of change of direction stuff, things like that, okay, that we work every single day. We try to stay in this rep range, 8 to 10 reps, 50 to 65% for week 1. Weeks 2 through 3, we drop to 6 to 8 for 60 to 75%. 4 through 5, weeks 4 and 5, we do 4 to 6 reps at 70 to 85%. Weeks 6 and 7, we'll do 2 to 4 reps for 80 to 95%. And then week 8, we will do 1 to 2 reps at 90 to 105%. We'll go super max right there because by then, surely their max is increased and we're able to exceed that a little bit. All right, we start our break set around week 4. So what a break set is I might say, hey, look, on this, I need you to get 2 reps. All right, you have to get 2, but try to get 5. Try to push to 5. Or, hey, I need you have to get 1 rep, but we're trying to push to 3. So get as much as you can. All right, just putting that muscle in a state of overload, making sure that nobody's capping out, that everybody is still progressing and getting better. All right, the Tiger Standard, one of the biggest things that we preach on from day 1 is proper spotting. Hey, if I'm laying down and I'm doing a bench press, and I have somebody back behind me and they're just repping these curls out because I'm not doing this bench press, they're just in there curling that weight, then, the guy that's spotting is going to have some great biceps by the end of it. But as far as my bench press, what was it able to improve? Did it go up at all? The answer is no. No, of course it didn't go up at all. It didn't get better. It's one of those things that you've got to be spotting properly so that you can actually get the desired outcome, what you're looking for out of those workouts. Lead with accountability. All right, so one of the things that we like to do is we will divvy our whole team up into smaller workout teams, smaller workout groups, and we'll appoint a senior to be over that workout group. Hey, this is your group. And so whenever they don't come to class or whenever they don't show up to practice or whenever they are failing or whenever there are attendance problems or if they have discipline problems, they got written up there at the school, whatever, hey, I'm going to that senior and we're going to talk about it, okay? So by doing that, not only do you get accountability within your groups, all right, within your team, but you also start to build it within, the upper and lower grade levels. They start to learn actually how to be leaders and not how to be bullies, not how to, just go back and forth, bantering, hey, no, I'm the senior. I'm going to tell you how this is going to be. All right. And you kind of teach them how to be leaders on top of building that unity within your team. All right. I'll tell my guys, don't be an OTP. OTP is a one-trick pony. right? So, if you can go out there and you can go lift a house or pick a car up, that's great. But if you can't fire out of a 3-point stance and actually move somebody and use that weight, then it's not helpful to us. That's great. You can go be some strongman somewhere. It'll help me with powerlifting come powerlifting season. But as far as, looking at football, yeah, it's not going to do anything for us if you can't be functional with it. So we put our offensive linemen and defensive linemen and our big guys through just as much agility type stuff, speed type stuff, movement, tsunami bar work. We do just as much with them as we do our skill and our little pretty guys, little DBs and all of those wide receivers. All right, we do just as much with our big guys as we do our little guys, just so we can continue to keep those movements fresh and increasing those movement patterns in their brain. All right, BYOJ, bring your own juice. I'm a big time match my energy kind of guy. Before we left for spring break, I was out there right before we started practice. We're all in the indoor and we're circled up, clapping, this and that, getting fired up. And one of the offensive linemen, walked through and was kind of picking at me, whatever. All right, so I threw my microphone, board, everything down right then, and we rolled right there and wrestled, right there pre-practice. And of course, all the kids circled up and they were all cheering and laughing and having a good time. But doing stuff like that, match my energy. Let's go. I'm sitting on go at all times. I'm a high energy Red Bull drinking, dude that I am sitting on go, and I challenge my guys to match my energy. But just doing little things like that, man, you should have seen the kids that were sitting there laughing and clapping and had a good time. We had one of the best practices of our entire off season, after doing that. And so that's a big part of it. Of course, just like any other strength coach, respect my facility. This is ours. The taxpayers spent a whole bunch of money to build the facility that we have. We're extremely blessed to have what we have. And so don't sit there and just leave shirts and leave shorts and leave cleats laying out on the turf, and don't leave weight everywhere racked up, not racked up. Let's clean up every single day and let's do the right thing to show respect for our facility. And again, I've already kind of touched on the no cell phones, no headphones, things like that. All right, I'm going to kind of shift towards culture now, looking at how we build culture in our program. All right, so our weight room culture. Our general overview, we have philosophy, structure, summer training, and then I have some videos that we're going to look at. Okay? So as far as our philosophy, it's very, very, very well known within our organization that we believe from the head coach all the way down that champions are made under the bar. You're not going to win a state championship on a Friday night. You're not going to win football games in general on a Friday night. All right, you're going to win them under a bar. It is your preparation in the off season. It's your preparation year round. In summer training and everything else that leads you to actually be able to put that ring on your finger. Okay. I think a lot of coaches look at off-season training as, I'm above this, or this is getting in the way of, hunting season or going out and fishing or whatever it is. And that can't be the mentality within the program. All right. We're not just killing time to get to the next football season. No. All right. This is where games are won and lost, is whenever you're under that bar, you're testing your athletes, you're understanding, you're learning about them. You're learning how to coach them. You can't coach every kid the same way. You're learning, this is the way I have to talk to this kid and navigate. This is the way I have to talk to this kid. You can find all those things out. You can challenge them, test them in the weight room, try them, challenge them, and see where that breaking point is. See where they're going to fold. See where they're going to hang it up and say, this is too hard, coach, I can't. All right. Because then if you do that in the weight room, then you don't have to do it on Friday night. Because Friday night, that's where all of our jobs are on the line, right? That's whenever the wins and losses are starting to count up. All right. If you've tested that kid and you know where that breaking point is, before you get out there, then it's huge. You're in a huge advantage versus somebody who is trying to find where their limit is for their kids on Friday. As far as junior high lifting, we have a great junior high coach, Coach Easley. He was the defensive coordinator on the varsity staff whenever they won the national championship in 2010. You talk about, I think he's got a ring for every finger state championship plus the natty. He's just an incredible wealth of knowledge, great football coach. But he wanted to take a step back, kind of get out of the pressure of everything. So he actually took over our junior high program. And man, you couldn't ask for a better junior high coach down there who is getting them ready. The transition between them coming from junior high and them getting in our weight room for the first time is seamless. Coach Easley and I and his assistants, we talk all the time. And I tell them, hey, look, here's the workout that we're doing. Here's the sets and reps we're doing. We're doing this. We're starting this 8-week cycle. We're going to start this 4-week cycle. We're, this, that. And they do the exact same workouts that we do down there. We are more focused on, trying to develop them and get them faster and stronger, everything, of course. Whereas the junior high, they more focus on looking at technique and fundamentals, really teaching them, but our weight room culture starts down there. There's no doubt about it, down in the junior high. And it's seamless, the transition. I'll go down there a couple times a year and actually lead one of their workouts and, kind of rev it up a little bit and show them, hey, this is what's coming. But, it's a big deal that transition between your lower grades and your upper grades. It's a big deal that transition is seamless and that they know what to expect. He'll share all his max numbers with me coming in, hey, look, he hands me a packet or he'll email it or whatever and say, hey, look, here's these kids, here's their names, here's their height, weight, here's their bench press maxes. Hey, check this 40 time out. Hey, look at this, that. And by the time I get that and I just take that and input it into our system and our computer and we're good to go. We're rolling. It's really helpful. Okay. Establishing buy-in, that is huge. All right. I can't tell you enough how important it is to get buy-in within your parent or within your players. All right. I'm a stickler for that structure. Everything has to be organized. And I think a lot of that is because of my military background. But, it's one of those things that kids want structure. A lot of kids this day and age, they don't have structure at home. They don't have, somebody that's sitting there at the house telling them when to go to bed. Hey, go brush your teeth. Hey, go do this, go do that. A lot of the times, dad isn't around and, mom may be working 2 or 3 jobs. All right. You could be the only structure that they have in their entire life. Okay. And these kids want structure. They really do. They want to be held accountable. And so it's important that you give them that structure. All right. If you go in the weight room and it's just a free for all, just chaotic, kids lifting everywhere and doing whatever they want, and they're not adhering to a program and they're not doing the right sets and reps and percentages and everything, then you're not doing them any favors and you're also not doing yourself any favors. Okay, so we owe it to the kids to come in organized. If we say that we're going to practice at 8 a.m., I'm going to be sitting in there ready to go at 7:50. And as soon as that clock hits 8, I'm blowing the whistle up and we're rolling. If it's 8:01, 8:02 and you're walking in there, I don't care if it's, we just had a kid that signed with Mississippi State this last year. He led the entire state 6A in rushing, and he's going to go play safety for Mississippi State. Let him be 1 minute late. I'm going to make an example out of you. You're going to do up downs. You're going to go run a lap. You're going to go do whatever the punishment is for that day. You're going to do it just like anybody else is. Okay, so there are no exceptions. You can't have double standards. There has to be a set, structure within your program where, here's the repercussions for your actions. All right. So, and then as far as establishing buy-in, one of the biggest things that we do too is we try to challenge our kids to ask us why. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing 6 reps at 80%? Why? What is that doing for my body? Okay, well, hey, come sit down. I'll talk to you about it. I'll tell you exactly why we do everything within our program. All right. And then if anything, that challenges us to make sure that we're doing things that actually make sense, that are actually going to help our kids to be successful. All right. And I'll tell my kids, I'll challenge them, hey, if you think of a better way to do this, let me know. All right. Let's think about it. Let's look at it. All right. If there's a better way that we can do this, then we might be missing out on something. Go ahead. Tell me. Let's see. We might adjust it. Okay. As far as structure, again, your athletes want structure, and everything is purpose driven, like we were just talking about. All right. Whenever we're talking about grouping athletes, okay, we have 2 different groups. We have lifting groups and we have competition groups. Okay. And there's a big difference between those 2. So our lifting groups, what we do is we base that off of total output. Okay. So the output from their maxes. So we take our maxes on our core lifts, our bench, squat, power clean, deadlift, and incline. All right. Then from there, we group our athletes into our lifting groups. So it ends up being a lot of the time that it can be grouped by position, because your O-line will usually be right there, with each other. Your D-line will usually be right there with each other. Your linebackers, running backs are usually going to lift about the same. Your DBs, wide receivers, are usually going to be right there about the same. All right, so you end up kind of getting into position groups for the most part. And so we try to get them to that. If there's any outliers, then obviously we just have to go ahead and move them, because we would much rather them, I'd much rather, if we have a power running back, and he can go lift those offensive linemen, then let's go. All right, but we do that simply because we want to increase the time under the bar and decrease the time that we're spending switching weights. All right, if I have a kid who is a linebacker, who is a 6'2", 220, about to go be linebacker at Florida, I don't want to put him in a linebacker group where he's lifting with another linebacker who's 5'11" and 160, just because they're both linebackers. All right, that's going to be a ton of switching weight, having to pull these plates off and put these 25s on and all that kind of stuff, where, we're not increasing the time under the bar. Okay. So our lifting groups are mainly based around the max output, the weight that they're pushing. All right. And generally it gets pretty close. All right. So what we're doing whenever we get back, all right, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to have our competition groups be different. And we haven't quite implemented this yet. We have everything set up. We're sitting on go. We were implementing this after spring break, and this has been the longest spring break of my entire life, where we're going on months now. But so with our competition groups, what we're doing, all right, we're going to select our competition groups by coaches, put each one of these competition groups, put a senior in charge of them. Okay. And there's a lot of strategy of it. So the coaches are going to kind of pick it like an NFL draft. Okay. Where, we're going to each going to go through and, I want this guy next. Okay. I want this guy next. Okay. And we're going to pick our own team. So what that does, all right, not only does that force your coaches to be active and be engaged and be involved in the weight room, they're having to look and see who's going to be able to help them help their team the most, because then we're going to establish like a criteria for it for, overall grades. We're going to, look at grades. We're going to look at 40 times. We're going to look at maxes. We're going to look at competitions, where we've got to, have this team versus that team, who's going to end up being on top. And all that goes into a scoring system that we're going to end up seeing who, is the first, second, third place winners. And then, we might do hoodies, we might do t-shirts, we might do pizza, who knows whatever, we do at the end of our 8-week cycle, at the end of our off season, for, what those kids, we can reward them with something. So like I said, that does a lot of things. It's going to teach your seniors how to lead. All right. It's going to teach your underclassmen how to be followers, and it's going to teach them, and by proxy, on how to be leaders based on the leadership that they receive from their seniors. But it also forces your coaches to be fully engaged and paying attention, and they're bought in now because they want their team to win. Hey, this is Coach Broadaway's team. This is Coach Smith's team, whatever. I want my team to be the best. I want my team to kick the crap out of your team. Let's go. All right. So yeah, it builds unity, it builds confidence, and the kids don't even know it. Of course, confidence breeds more confidence. Okay, as far as summer training, again, this summer is going to have to be a little different because I think we're going to be a little late to the party as far as hitting our numbers like we usually would. But these numbers are just notional. So let's just say that hand wave, we do a 25 summer workouts. That is the max summer workouts that we do. Okay. With that being said, let's say of those 25 workouts, you make 18 of them. All right, good job. I'm going to throw you this free t-shirt. You made 18 of them. You get the Iron Summer Tiger whatever t-shirt, okay? 20. Let's say you make 20 of them. All right, I'm going to put your name on the back of your jersey for the upcoming year, plus you get a t-shirt. All right, and that's a big incentive. All right, whenever we're sitting there and we're breaking down film, I know one of the biggest things that I look at on other teams is if they have their name on the back of the jersey or not. All right. None of these kids want to show up and, they're running out there on the field and everybody else has their name on the back of their jersey and, they're looking cool. It's a custom jersey, everything like that. And you just have some old standard jersey, nothing setting you apart from everyone else. Okay. So the name on the jersey is a big time influencer as far as getting our kids to do what we want them to do. So we'll do the name on the back of the jersey. And then if you make 23 of those 25 workouts, what we'll do is we will take you up to the water park. There's a water park here in Mississippi that, we'll go and ride slides and rides and eat funnel cakes and whatever, at the very end of our summer, right before we kick off our summer ball. Our training program kind of capstone, we'll end up going to the water park, getting to hang out with coaches and, ride rides and do all that kind of stuff, plus your name on the back of the jersey, plus a t-shirt. So incentivize your players, man. That's one of the biggest things as far as getting the most out of them, because a little bit of money here and there, a $3, $4 t-shirt, to get them to 18 workouts, done. It doesn't cost that much to put names on the back of the jerseys, to do that for those kids, but to get them to 20 workouts, because we can't force them to be there. I can't say I'm going to cut you off this team if you're not at this workout. All right. But at the end of the day, they don't want to be the only one without their name on the back of the jersey. All right. And that's a small price to pay to get the kids to 20 out of 25 of your workouts. Okay. So, and then as far as protein powder, we do give our kids protein powder. We send them home with a note saying, hey, here's a consent form. Mama signed this. We're going to give your kids some protein powder they can use as a post-workout recovery. Okay. And then that's kind of a double-edged sword as well, because not only then do, 1 jug of protein per year, or 2 jugs, whatever it is, it's not that expensive per kid, especially if you go raise some money, do some fundraising type stuff for it, but not only that, it's then gonna, get them to buy it on their own after they run out. Hey, I'll buy you this first jug, but then the second jug's on you, type thing. Okay, so it's a good opportunity for them to get better. All right, here's an example of one of our workouts. This is a lower body day. All right, so we have our different groups. All right, we have our different stations. Okay, so the way that we do this will be station 1, station 2, station 3, station 4, station 5. And again, we're extremely blessed. This is like a layout of our indoor. The weight room is right there where the black is. And then the indoor practice facility, the field is right here. Okay, so we're really blessed to have this, to be able to integrate a lot of our movement stuff. But you can do this without having an indoor. So you can set stations up inside your weight room, and then you can have them cycle out to the football field. You can have them, all right, now you are going to, once we rotate, you're going to go to the bleachers, they're going to go to the field, and they're going to come inside to the weight room. All right, you can do different things like this that are going to really set you apart whenever you start seeing these results and looking at the results on Friday night. Okay, so on group one right here, or I'm sorry, station one, we would have front squat. Okay, we'd have power clean right here. We're doing some tsunami work over here on 3. On 4, we're doing a little L-cone agility drill. And then 5, we're doing some dumbbell calf work. So calf raises, working some explosion type stuff, things like that. Okay, so we always rotate clockwise. Okay, so group 1, who's starting off here, all right, would go to over here to station 1. All right, group 2 would go to station 2, and then we rotate that every single week so that we don't have the same kids starting on our primary lifts every single week. All right, so that we can kind of work those around and switch it up. Okay, so this would be an example of a lower body day. As far as an upper body day, all right, this would be what we'd be looking at. Oh, my bad. All right, so we have station 1 right here would be upright rows, 2 would be incline, 3 would be tsunami bench, 4 would be position specific movements, all right, and then 5 would be 20 10-yard sprints. Okay, so again, we have a coach over each one of these. That's like Coach Woods, Coach Friend. They run these two. Coach Christian is over here. Coach Mock will be right here. Coach Max will be right here. All right, and most of the time I'm in the middle and I'm on the mic running it, keeping everybody on, telling them when to rotate, things like that. Okay, but so right here we would have upright rows. 2, we would have incline. 3, we're doing tsunami bench. 4, we're doing position-specific movement drills. 5, the sprints, okay? So, yeah, just having this plan, having this structure, having the organization, knowing what we're doing, having the ability to post this up on the, wall, telling them what we're doing this week, it's huge. That organization is so big for your kids. Okay, so now I'm going to get to a few videos real quick. All right, so here's an example of a workout that we have. So again, right here we have the tsunamis. So we're doing what we call tsunami bounding, where they have it in a squat hold, and they are, just basically doing a high knee type movement with it. Trying to explode. I tell them to touch that knee to the ceiling, try to drive all the way up with it. And they're having to engage and tighten that core so that they can actually, feel that full rep. And it really helps as far as their mobility and core strengthening. All right, so over here we've got the little guys doing some box type work, doing some explosion training, working the boxes, doing some pro agility right here. And again, you see a coach at every single station. You saw a coach over here at the boxes, all right, and he's locked in. You see a coach right here, he's locked in, all right. Everybody is working, trying to get these kids better. Everybody's pushing the pace, bringing the intensity.
There we go, second man.
All right, and that's me trying to keep everything on, making sure we're on the right sets, right reps, doing the right percentage, everything like that. Okay, here is just another example of a workout. All right. Let me bring attention to this real quick. So this is what we call a tsunami jammer, okay? For those of y'all who have tsunami bars in your program, man, this is by far the most football, just pure movement that I've ever seen. Okay, so what we do, you see these blue straps right here. We hook the straps up to the tsunami bar. All right, we go pretty lightweight. It doesn't have to be a lot. And then basically what you do is you have your player walk it all the way back and coil up. So you've got your power angles in your hips and your knees and your ankles, everything right here, everything's coiled up. And then you have them jump and explode up. All right, one of my coaching cues is I want to hear powerful feet. I want to hear your feet stomp. I want to hear you explode out there and land. All right, and you think about an offensive lineman firing out of their stance. You think about a linebacker who is shooting their hips, exploding up through a tackle. All right, all of those different little intricacies to the game where you're using this hip explosion, man, this brings it all into light. All right, and you can really see the kids that are going to be able to bring that force and generate that force. All right, and the kids that don't. This is a huge. We really evaluate players on this lift right here. All right, so you can see it. All right, right there. That's big time. All right, that's huge. And that's a ninth grader. You know, that's a ninth grader right there doing it. You know, first year under a tsunami bar, and he's already developed really good form with it. And so, you know, we're proud of that. Again, you see a coach over here pushing the pace, doing some battle ropes right there. Again, active coaching. Coach sitting there pushing that pace, getting it going. All right, a little footwork type, speed, agility type drills, some lunges. All right, you see all the different moving parts. It's really controlled chaos. I mean, we're just actively trying to, you know, get these kids going, trying to show them that, you know, we're trying to make it as game-like as possible as far as the chaos. All right, now I'm going to get into some of our competitions. Okay, so this is one of the competitions that we like to do. All right, so right here, the player either starts with the football or they start with the dumbbells. All right, and they have to go down, put whichever one they have on that box, and then sprint back. And then tag their partner, and then they go down the exact same way. All right, it's just a relay race. All right, you can hear the music in the background now. So now we're cranking it up. Now it's not as much about communication as much as it is, you know, actually sitting there and we're trying to, you know, get it hyped up. We're trying to get these kids going now. Okay, so that's a big part of it. All right, whenever you look at testing them, mental toughness, I mean, this is a butt kicker, man. This is not an easy workout by any means. And we're doing all this after we have lifted, you know, so this is after we've already gone through all of what you saw in the last video. You know, we're sitting there, we're testing them hard every single day, getting them better. And whenever they start seeing their bodies change, man, they start getting fired up about it. You know, they love this part of it. They love seeing what rap songs Coach Broadway knows and what he doesn't. All right. I think this is the same thing. It's just another angle.
Let's go, baby. Pick it up. I see you, bro.
That's one of our shades right there. And you see him getting it. You know, it's important that they move. It's important that they know how to control their bodies. He was a ninth grader this last year. He qualified for state in powerlifting. Yeah, he's going to be a monster.
I see you, BBG. Let's go, baby.
Again, another one of our defensive linemen.
I like when you carry that ball, boy.
You can see everybody giving it all right? They're all giving 100% trying. Because they want to win for their competition team. They want to try to, you know, do the best that they can. Okay, so here's just like a little ladder type drill, line drill.
Get it, get it.
again, you see the intensity by the coaches, man, just trying to keep it going. So I love that intensity by Coach Max, our D-line coach right there. And keeping these kids fired up, keeping them going. That's what it takes. All right, so here's one that we do. This is more of a fun, we'll do these every now and then where it's not just all relays. It's not just all, grind. All right, we want to do some fun stuff with them too. So this is one that we really like to do. It's called chicken fight. All right, so you have your partner holding your feet. All right, and basically we're putting them up, against each other where anything that touches outside of your hands or your arms, you're out. Okay, and so they're just constantly trying to slap, trying to pull them out. All right, but not only are you up against this person right here that you're up against, but you're also having to rely on your teammate who's holding your feet to keep you in this fight. Okay, so it's doing a lot as far as building that camaraderie within your team.
Chicken fight, baby. Anything but the arm, take the ground.
Okay. Here's some of our big guys, offensive versus defensive linemen. All right. Here's a running back versus a kind of hybrid guy, linebacker, defensive end. Probably should have got him right there for that foot touching, but that's part of it.
I love it.
All right, and then right here. So this is one we definitely did one Friday that we had a really good time with. The players were loving it and laughing and cracking up. What we do is we start them down there on the goal line, and we made them roll, all right, over to the 20, and then they've got to stand up once they get to the 20 or 30 or whatever it is, and then sprint back. Okay, so of course they're coming up and they're dizzy and disoriented, and the players are laughing, having a good time, but it's not all about fun. I mean, obviously you've got to be able to control your body under adverse circumstances and things like that. So you're teaching them how to fight through that kind of stuff, but then it's also it's a fun thing to kind of look at and see these kids do it. So see him, he's not even going the right way anymore. He's all the way over here going down the wrong side. So that's just some of our competitions. All right. That is all that I have for today, man. My name is Coach Broadway, again, South Panola High School over in Batesville, Mississippi. Here is my Twitter. It's at Coach_Broadway or Bway, Bway. And then my email is zbroadway@spanola.net. So, of course, man, if there's anything that I can help y'all with, y'all go send me a message on Twitter, shoot me an email, whatever. I have no problem sharing these slides with you. And, you throwing your logos up there up top and using them, as far as helping with your athletes, teaching them about, the different version or the different, parts of their health, the different, physical, social, mental, emotional, those things like that, what they're putting in their body, what they're eating, everything like that. So yeah, again, thank you so much, Coach, for having me on. This is it for me.